Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the International Wildcard Qualifier, of course, coming live from Istanbul, Turkey. I am Max Atlas Anderson, and this is Zach Rusty Pie. Do you like what I did there?
I mean, the slight pause between
pause
talking.
for
Yeah,
effect.
I did like that
what do you
one.
think?
Not bad. There's been better.
Yeah, I admit that that was probably the least humorous that we could have taken that one. But ladies and gentlemen, unfortunately, due to some unforeseen circumstances, we are back again today, and hopefully everyone's been working tirelessly, and we're going to do our very best to bring you a fantastic production. And look, we're starting again. The Bangkok Titans going to be taking on the Chiefs, and it is going to be difficult for them to get through. But let's have a look at the standings first, have a look at the schedule, and see exactly what we're going to be seeing today.
Yeah, so there's going to be a lot of action coming out. Again, 6 games in a row. Kicking it off will be, as you mentioned, Chiefs taking on the Bangkok Titans. The second game of the day, Dark Passage against the Japanese team, Detonation Focus Me.
Yeah, and then Detonation Focus Me staying on the Rift, facing off against the Chiefs in Game 3, and then the Bangkok Titans taking on Dark Passage for our 4th game. And then it is going to be Turkey versus Oceania, longtime rivals, as the Chiefs take on Dark Passage for Game 5.
They certainly are. And to round us out for the day, Detonation Focus Me taking on the Bangkok Titans in our 6th and last game.
Yeah, and we'll see how things go. Of course, we are going to have a whole lot of League of Legends today, Rusty. And look, going into the first game, we are going to have a complete remake, ladies and gentlemen. So no picks and bans are going to remain the same. We're just going to completely redo everything. And what does this mean for the Chiefs and for the Bangkok Titans moving forward?
Yeah, so this is a very scary prospect because this does mean a lot of things may have to change. The Chiefs, they started with a bang. They came out all guns blazing, and they put the macro strategy into effect.
Yeah.
And to great success. Now, the big question is, because they're resetting, are they going to be able to do the same strategy? Do they have to bring out a new strategy, try something different to see if it can work again? And then even then, are they revealing too much of their hand too early? There's a lot of questions that we don't have the answer to until they play again.
Yeah, and you look on the other side of the Rift there as well, the fact that you had the 2v2 lane that was going fantastically well for the Bangkok Titans due to the fact that Moss managed to pick up his Thresh. This is something that I want to talk about first because Thresh is a huge power pick for this guy, and he managed to roam around the map, come back down to that lane, and get his Vayne to a 20 CS lead when he was only there about 50% of the time.
That's right. So one of the biggest factors and a benefit to the Chiefs in this respect is they now know that he is a god on this champion. We said it before the games even began. You do not give Moss Thresh because he can single-handedly carry and close out games by himself on that champion. It's a very scary prospect to give to Bangkok Titans, but now they know.
Yeah, massive playmaking champion for this team, and it was only going to mean worse things when we got to that team fighting phase. And look, he can land the hooks, get things started off. But the next champion I want to talk about goes over to the side of the Chiefs, and that is Spooks on this Elise. Elise massively strong on the 5.15 patch, and you have to think, after his performance in the half a game that we've already seen, that cannot be hitting the Rift again.
Yeah, so to give the contrast now for the Chiefs, they do have this ridiculously strong jungler, and this changes the play style of the Chiefs. One of the strengths of the team as a whole is that Spooks likes to play without getting many deaths and just doing his part whilst his lanes win for him. He just comes in late game and team fights with them, and you can see that here. He averages 1 death a game, and then giving him that champion like Elise actually unlocks him to have this early aggression. It unlocks the Chiefs to do skirmish style of play, which isn't one of their strengths, but when they get champions like that, they make it work. Spooks makes it work.
Yeah, and close to a 70% kill participation as well. He's all over the map really getting things started for his team. It's not like he's off in one lane making sure that he can snowball that one ahead. It's whoever needs him at any point in the game. Spooks is making sure he gets that done. And the fact that he averages 1 death a game is just absolutely ludicrous.
Yeah, it's gross. And to have a 13.1 KDA is just ludicrous to consider also. And I mean, he just does so much work. To have a 68% kill participation, to give you an example, Swiper, their top lane, has a 58% kill participation throughout the split. So he's everywhere.
He most certainly is. There's the fact that Swiper as well, often able to get onto some of these carry champions. And do you think that that carryover ban of the Fizz will be opted for this game as well? Or are they going to think that the Shen, the global pressure, is going to be something Bangkok Titans don't want to deal with?
Yeah, so again, we don't actually know what their ideas are going to be for this next game. No doubt there will be a lot of adaptations, and we'll see how they actually put these into effect.
Yeah, that's very true. But we are going to throw it over to the caster desk with Pastry Time and friends to get into Game 1.
Thank you very much, Alison Rusty. And yes, my name is Julian Pastry Time Car. Joining with me is Ryan Fresco and more, and Jake Spawn Tiberi. And we're back after a couple of hiccups there on date number 1. Let's do it all over again and get into our first match. We had a lot of good points with the way that first game started. The Chiefs, honestly, at least in the first 15 minutes, did start off strong.
Yeah, and let's start with what we do know. Coming off the back of that 15 minutes worth of broken play, the Chiefs, they're up about 3,000 gold. They were down in turrets, even though they put the lane swap in effect, but they were up about 7 kills in the Dragon from a very skirmish-heavy start of the game. And the top side of the map, Spooks and Swiper were really rolling. And you could see Bangkok Titans didn't really know how to treat that because they're used to skirmishing. And when you have 2 big tanks, you just can't do that.
But the big thing that I want to talk about is that Lulu top. So a big aspect of the Chiefs snowballing ahead was the fact that they were beating Bangkok Titans around the map in a macro strategy style of game. And a lot of that came off of the back of having the Lulu top and then taking the lane swap into it. We already discussed how Lulu top, yeah, she's great in a 2v1 scenario because she acts as a ranged champion and she can last hit, but in the double jungle meta that's so much more common in lane swaps, she falls behind. And this is where a lot of the Chiefs' momentum really picked up, and I guarantee that won't happen again.
Yeah, I completely agree. And the other thing you have to look at is how they stuck to standard lanes after the lane swap and drove through and got back equalized on that CS after they were down in both the AD carry and the top lane position. So credit Bangkok Titans, they definitely look like if they get a standard side of the map, they look good. But the Chiefs, they have that information now. They know that they can't really lane against these guys. I expect them to go all in on the strategy, especially if the TF or the Shen is left open, and just try and keep the 2v1s as long as possible.
And I think the Chiefs, despite that lane swap, did hold up in some of their standard lanes as well. Mid lane was looking quite good for Swiffer despite a tricky matchup against Echo, even though he was on a champion like Victor. Yes, Swiper did have a big impact in with some of his ultimates there as well, but you don't have to change, like, stylistically, the fact that the Chiefs were able to play that well in a kind of new, not a new situation for them, but something we haven't seen in a while, was also very impressive.
Yeah, and this is something that not many people have spoken about, but they took a assassin player, G4, into a control mage player, last picked it and still got beaten out. So I think that for this game at least, G4 underestimated how well Swiffer plays control mages and probably has to play one in response. Because right now, if you take another melee mage, especially if you play something like Orianna or Victor again, Swiffer already proved once that he can get the better of that matchup.
Yeah, I kind of feel like G4 is going to fall back onto his old tricks, like his Ahri, his Zed. We saw him hover it in champion select, but I feel like he's not going to make the same mistake and go for the Echo, especially on that kind of mechanical misstep of the initial 1v1 outplay where he drew tower aggro. Tragro aggro.
Yeah, just got hit in the face with some laser beams a couple of times. I agree. And, you know, Ahri fills the perfect position between both of them because she is a wave clear mage that turns into an assassin as she ramps up with her items. So I'd love to see G4 go back towards her and see if he can take control of that map, because a couple too many times they were trying to invade red buffs, get 007X going, but the mid lane was an area that kept falling down and 007X couldn't execute on that invade style gameplay.
And I guess on the other side there, if you look at what went well for Bangkok Titans in the game that we saw, it's actually the bottom lane. Yeah. Exactly. Lloyd and Moss, especially with Moss on that Thresh, like we heard from Rusty and Atlas, just looked awesome.
Moss is a beast, but Lloyd, in all honesty, is like the player that stood out to me. We credit Radius so much in the Oceanic region of being able to take any lane he wants and make it a winning lane. The fact that they picked Alistair shows that they didn't really give Lloyd the respect he was due, and that guy was having a pretty good performance on Vayne as we were getting going into the game. I think that they will afford much more respect to the bottom lane of the Bangkok Titans because they look like they're the shining light.
And I know we've already talked about Thresh and Moss's performance in particular, especially out there in the war room, but I have to underline this. This guy on Thresh, all of the VODs that we watch, whenever he got Thresh, just his playmaking ability, not just in the bottom lane, but everywhere on the map. It's almost, of course, we cast the LPL, but it's very PYL-esque. Heavy roam style, heavy impact style.
Yeah, and you could see that. Even in the team fight that they looked like they were losing, he bodied Radier on Thresh. He just walked at him and auto-attacked him to death with that weird chain thing. And so that has to be in a great player like Radier's mind. Okay, like, I'm supposed to be the star player in this team. I have the highest kills in the whole league. I outkilled 2 teams by myself, but this bottom lane from Bangkok Titans just did a number on me a little bit.
Certainly did, and we are into Champ Select for the second time in the next few days, but to kick IWCQ back off again. Now Vladimir, the same bands, I believe, from Chiefs, starting off their series yesterday, and Fizz will stay consistent, but Alistar is a bit of an adaptation there from Bangkok Titans. With 5 seconds left now, the Chiefs, they'll take out Rek'Sai as well.
So the same bands out of the Chiefs, I believe, from yesterday. And the Alistair is the early adaptation. I like that from the Bangkok Titans. The Chiefs proved that the bottom lane rotates very quickly and helps out, and some of Ejim's headbutt pulverized combos were on point. They gave it to him once. He's proven that he can still play it on an international level. No point letting it go back through.
No, just a little too dangerous. Was playing nice and aggressive as well, trying to get Radius Tristana ahead. Had some trouble, as we discussed, but we'll see what happens now as Twisted Fate is the last ban there for the Titans. The Chiefs, though, they seem to have a pretty good plan. I do like they're sticking to their bans. It says to me that they trust in their preparation from yesterday.
The thing that I'm really curious about is that the Bangkok Titans, you know, stuck to their guns on their Twisted Fate ban versus the Elise, especially after Spooks' performance, and especially because the Chiefs have blue side priority pick. If this Gangplank doesn't go through, I would assume it would be the Elise.
Yeah, I actually
Shen instead. That's the first pick.
Going to say, the reason I like the Shen is because 007X hasn't really shown the Elise too much, whereas Warlock has definitely shown a world-class Shen, and the way we expect Chiefs to win this game is on a macro level, so being able to take a global onto the map is certainly important.
And same two picks as yesterday, Thresh and Gragas to start things off.
I was just about to say that that was exactly the same rotation that we saw from the Bangkok Titans yesterday, and I'll say this again, and I'm sure we'll hear it for the rest of the tournament. Anytime the Bangkok Titans can first rotate Thresh, they will. From blue side, they'll give it priority pick. From purple side, they'll always take it in an early rotation. Moss is a beast on Thresh.
Certainly is here, so we'll see what the Chiefs have lined up now with about 30 seconds left for picks 2 and 3. Do have the Alistar taken away from them, but lots of other options that were open to them yesterday.
Yeah, Annie. They'll just, Braum is also open, you know.
Yep.
They can play two fairly, like, Ejim's just such a great Braum/Annie player, so being able to have that available to them is certainly a good thing, especially with Callista. Wow.
At least Callista get taken away there. We didn't quite consider it, but Callista certainly being kind of a different champion. Usually something that Radiant doesn't get.
Yeah, Radiant is awesome on Callista.
Yep.
It's 100% banned against him nearly. I think it got through 2 games. And Chiefs, of course, they win a lot of their games, but they were very handily able to secure those victories. So giving Radiant a hard carry, especially throughout the mid game. I like the adaptation because Tristana, whilst good at pushing turrets, definitely didn't work out in the 2v2.
Well, it's also a response against Lloyd. The fact that Moss does have the Thresh, one of the biggest combos for Callista is naturally having that Thresh. And no, we didn't see that combo yesterday, but seeing the Thresh come into the first rotation, okay, we're not going to give them Thresh and Callista alongside that.
Yeah, I do like that as well, denying that all away. But Maokai Sivir are the picks here for Bangkok Titans. Lots of speed and lockdown, trying to keep on top of that Callista.
Okay, so I know historically Chiefs flex Shen. So right now I'm looking at the top lane and there is a Maokai up there. They've shown that there is going to be a heavy tank, but they don't flex it at all. They go with Braum Victor.
Yep.
And they're running a very similar comp to yesterday. It's the only real adaptations. You have a melee Braum and that's it. Like, really, the Callista is something that will fulfill a similar role. AD carries, they just a little bit better in the 2v2 maybe, but probably will still look for a lane swap.
And I think enabling Ejim's also nice. So, again, the Chiefs sticking to that preparation from yesterday, not letting everything phase them. And Bangkok Titans now have to look for their last pick.
Right
That's the really big thing, though, that you mentioned. Unlocking Ejim, unlocking Braum at level 1 is such a big deal because of his early roam potential with the Q adjustments. And if they look for that lane swap, allowing him to go mid lane for that level 2 gank can be absolutely devastating with concussive blows.
And there's something different. Varus is the last pick up there for Bangkok Titans. Don't think that's your champion Warlock. I imagine that's going to the mid for G4.
Yeah, and you know, we mentioned the fact that I think G4 learned that he can't really play the assassin into the matchup. They looked at the Ahri for a very long time, go for Varus, and typically this isn't what we see against Victor. This is what we see a lot against Azir because it definitely wins out that matchup. But 2 very mid-range AD carries, Sivir probably even on the lower end, against an Azir with all of that zone control. Don't even care about his damage. It's just the gravity field that's going to give them so much trouble as they set up around these objectives. Not going to be able to brute force in. Sure, Warlock, 007X, they can get over the top. How the heck do the AD carries get around it?
I mean, do you feel like at least in a 1v1 lane sense that the theory is similar?
Oh, with the short cooldown on Varus Q, he can lane against anyone. He just sits back and picks off minion waves. But it's how you execute the poke in the late game, and there's so much disengaged because of the Elise Cocoon, the Shen Taunt, and the gravity field that they're going to struggle to get on top of the Chiefs.
And I guess same sort of question as yesterday. We mentioned junglers being important for these teams. We've seen Spooks get a bit more aggressive on the Elise. Once again, 007X on the Gragas, Spooks on the Elise. They're going to need to have big impacts in the early game.
Yeah, definitely, especially towards that mid lane. See whether Spooks is able to get in there, help the Victor out, and take a number to G4.
Well,
The thing, though, is that Varus doesn't open up a lot of options for the jungler to be super proactive. I mean, you have to think he's going to go into a mid-game centric build with his tier, with the Muramana, with the last Whisper, and it's just going to be Legolas there sitting in the mid lane. But Gragas isn't looking at that lane like, yep, that's definitely going to be a free kill.
Yeah.
Especially not with the cleanse coming out of both mid laners. You know, very low kill potential, no ignite there. Really, the only way you're going to kill someone with the Varus is layering that CC, especially if they have a speed up like Victor. Very hard to lock down and nail those arrows.
Yeah, I guess a difference in top lane as well. So not going to be the Lulu this time. Something a little bit more practice, more tanky for Warlock, and can certainly be a backline threat. I think both teams, again, drafted well, got the team comps they wanted, and now we're going to get onto the rift for our first game of day one, kind of the International Wildcard 2015 qualifier. As Swiffer and G4 are going to have a giggle.
Yeah, Swiffer draws first blood, not in the literal death sense, but in the fact that he landed a laser. So good on him.
Bonus money.
Oh, Moss, make him bank. He just slapped him, got 3 gold. Worth.
Oh, that's right. Picked his pockets.
So now the question is, do the Chiefs initiate the lane swap? The fact that Raydeer and EGM have both been spotted on the bottom side, we see this a lot from teams. So you stand out in River where you know you're going to make a connection, you walk into Fog of War, and then you press back, walk up to the top lane.
Yeah, but the real question for me is, do you want a 2v2 a Kalista with a Sivir? Very hard to shove out. I know that Moss has his Thresh, but going up against a Kalista lane is always risky, I feel, especially if you have a high mobility jungler like an Elise that can get in there and affect it early.
Now, Jake, you know that when you lane against Sivir, you don't lane against Sivir. You lane against creeps.
Minions, yeah.
It's your mending wave racing there. Sivir usually pretty good at clearing them out, but looks like we are going to wander down for standard lanes this time around. We'll see if that changes anything. Ejim was quite aggressive yesterday on the Alistar. Let's see if he can get the similar job done there on the Braum.
Yeah, and it's double ignite, so it looks like it will be an aggressive lane. Moss wants to muck up their double golems. He needs to be careful. Walked over a ward.
Certainly does. They do know where he is. They're going to take out the mini Krug there. And Raidier's going to see him. Going to start putting some arrows in. But just a little message there, Sam. Moss going to eat the chair as well. He'll be just fine, maybe.
He's in trouble.
Radier coming in.
He
The
needs to
passive's
flash.
still there. He's flayed away there.
Play.
Really good play.
That was a bit of a mistake out of Radier, but no harm, no foul.
Especially walking over there knowing that Kalista had started her rend.
Yeah.
So much damage potential that can come out if she managed to proc the concussive blows.
Well, stays safe for now here as Warlock and 007X doing some jungle together. Looks like they're aiming mid lane, possibly around the jungle actually. We did have wards over on the red buff side there for Chiefs, so they have vision of that side of the jungle, but Bangkok Titans invaded the bottom right-hand side, and that's exactly where they're going to go.
So Teleport's already gone into the lane, and unless Warlock shares this experience, or they get a kill, which is definitely a possibility, this is a little bit of a big loss for the Bangkok Titans, keeping their top laner down here for so long.
Yeah, short-term investment, but maybe not a gain here. They are going to try and spring the trap onto Spooks. Damage is out. Q will land. Spooks forced to flash himself out, but I don't know if he can get away from this one. Warlock will follow flash, and he'll get 007X gets first blood.
Yeah, so really nicely played. As we said, if they were able to get the first blood, definitely worth, and they pull it off there. Blue buff had already been given over to the Maokai, so now jungle and top laner have a blue buff alive.
And looking bottom side now as well. Moss trying to get aggressive. Raidier's been flayed back. He's forced to flash out. The hook barely misses him. And Ejim's going to eat a sapling.
But think about night and day difference from the Bangkok Titans' plan in the early game. You know, the fact that they took the Maokai, that they weren't going to risk it on the Lulu, that they double jungled for so long. And yes, we do see an extended, elongated double jungle from the Bangkok Titans, helping 007 get off on the right foot. But giving the blue buff over to Maokai, I mean, we saw that, against SK back at Worlds previously, where you have the blue buff Maokai with the double Doran's ring for infinite sustain.
Just can't shove him out of lane anymore. All of a sudden, even though they have a CS advantage in the top side of the map, going to be so hard for Swiper to punish any of that. So we'll have to see whether the Chiefs can wrestle back some form of control. Much different, much more proactive start from the Bangkok Titans.
And that's what we expect from that team. Lots of aggression early on, especially to try and start the snowball early. They've gotten the first kill, almost got one in the bottom side here as well. But we'll reset back. We'll continue playing standard lanes. The Spooks is going to clear out a trinket ward.
I just cannot believe from level 1, the plan there, the fact that Maokai had the blue buff is the thing that sells it for me. Knowing that they were going to get the kill on Spooks to transfer the other blue to Gragas.
Yeah, this is super dangerous in the top lane though. Maokai, he would be feeling like he started off beautifully in this game. Doesn't want to go over aggressive because the layering of CC that comes out of top laner plus Elise is very potent.
Spooks getting 3 buff right now, so it does need to make a difference. Swiper lands a
Good
taunt.
job.
Cocoon will land in as well. Damage is down. The Venomous fight there is there's a lot of minions actually also doing damage, but they'll try and keep the sustain up. They'll repel down now as well. Spooks are coming with another bite. He's a little low on mana. Swiper's going to turn things around, and he will get the kill.
And all of a sudden, Warlock wishes that he had his flash that he burned a little bit more before, because that lane is still pushing into him, and unless 007X can make it hit turret, that is so much golden experience wasted.
In the meantime, Swiffer going to clear out this minion wave. G4 looking for the poke, but Swiffer keeping it under control here with the Victor. Last hitting nicely is again these two somewhat control, certainly medium long range mages, just getting their farm on in the early game. Is Egypt! Oh, he's killed Moss in the bottom lane. Lloyd, at risk of getting stunned up, does eat the passive as Radiant. He's trying to complete the kill. The chair is good, but a nice spell shield keeps him safe.
Egypt still got flashed. Sivir needs to respect the Braum right now, and Chiefs get a little bit of advantage down bottom.
Ooh, good cancel though from 007X. He'll make sure Spooks' back is interrupted, but the aggression in the bottom lane, talk about differences.
I know, and we talked about this. Like, Bangkok Titans, they constantly will find kills in a 2v2 in a 1v1 scenario, even without 007's presence. So the Chiefs, you know, picking up that Callisto, looking for the 2v2 matchup, not trying the macro strategy again, and then just brute forcing through Lloyd and Moss.
And I'm not going to lie, that's why I like the Braum pickup a lot, because he just does that, puts up the shield, stops so much of the DPS of Sivir. They need to make sure they back fully out of this lane, though, because Moss is back down there.
Yep, can see the water. Swift is also going to go back with 007X posturing in the area. Good dodge there from Swiffer out of the arrow from G4, but you can tell they're looking for kills. In fact, top lane might be the next point of action once more. Swiper does not know this is happening now. It's a good idea as Warlock's going to get taunted off it, but he's not going to take too much bait. Just gets a nice trade onto Maokai.
And that lane's still pushing into Swiper. That was the problem with the gank being successful, that Warlock got forced off so much farm. And good luck diving a Shen, especially when he's being given a kill. He's gone back, picked up some nice resistance at work against both the tree and the fat man in the jungle.
The big thing also is the fact that Swiper has his flash, whereas Warlock's flash is still down. So it's the success rate of ganking that Shin is almost negative.
Yeah,
Little tricky.
Not going to work out.
To say the least. As Edom and Moss gonna have a party. Picks his
not the
pockets,
party you
plays
want.
him around, and Spooks is here as well to gate crash. They'll take the Scuttle Crab now instead. Moss will have to back off. Lloyd has fought the BF sword, but Radius starting off that Blade of the Ruin King. Already has that Cutlass trying to keep the wave down here.
Yeah, and going with the Emax, recognizing that he's going to get, with the concussive blows passive, multiple auto attacks into people, so trying to get the stun for the bonus damage, as well as that huge rend.
It's also just such a great ability against Gragas and Maokai. The fact that we talked about how Varus and Sivir are both medium range and you have so much front line in front of them, but hold on, Chiefs looking for something
Here
cute.
comes Spooks. Ejim hiding out in the brush, going to look to try and get some damage down. Lloyd will block the Q though. Hook will just miss, and Spooks will back off.
Yeah, so not much happening in the bottom lane. 007X trying to make his presence felt around the map. That's 2 pink wards on the bottom side and a 3-man invade on the blue bar.
Yeah, they've got good vision here, so they've set it up already. They've got the Scuttle Crab. They're going to look for this blue Radier, hunting around 007X.
This is so dangerous.
Blue goes to Radier, actually hits
Teleport.
level 6. Hook lands onto Spooks, Dangeronic's onto Radier. Warlock already down here. They're going to collapse in onto the Maokai as G4 lands the ult onto Ejim. Fates call away though. A Swimmer comes in. Huge damage with the Death Ray and Chaos Storm. And it's just going to keep rolling through. Bangkok Titans getting a little low, trying to pick somebody up. Radier flashes forward, gets a kill now running onto Moss as he eats the laser. And it's a 2-for-0 win for the Chiefs.
This is the incredible power of blue side Victor in particular. You fight around the Dragon, you fight around the Baron. So many choke points, so many tunnels to drop the Chaos Storm, the laser, and the gravitational fields across multiple members.
And we talked about it already. The zone control they piled up. That was a 4-man knock-up coming out of the ultimate from Callista, as well as that huge Chaos Storm and laser. You just cannot with 2 tanks. Let's take another look at it. They're just piled around the choke. And there's nothing they can do about it. Taunt, the knock-up, the gravity field, and the Chaos Storm is just all in this massive area, and everyone gets chunked out.
I love this from Radier, just the flash. We talked about it yesterday, kind of looked a little off on his game, not what we expect. Radier's honestly had a pretty poor record internationally, so seeing him be a bit more aggressive
That's their win condition.
That's a great point to bring up. The fact that 007 continues to invade after they just lost a major team fight on the Dragon Pit. Like, Bangkok Titans, they go with the same plan every single time.
Yeah, it's a brute force team comp. It looks like Swift actually didn't get the blue buff, so I'm guessing a little bit of miscommunication.
Found
As you
it.
check out Spook. A bit sheepish.
He's got it there. Gonna have to get some value out of that cocoon cooldown. And as you can see, Bangkok Titans still on the aggressive plan, certainly, but keeping up in CS as well. Got slight leads in all 3 of their lanes, but the gold lead there from those kills, 1,000 gold up for Chiefs, so very early days still.
Yeah, counter gank will be coming out of the mid lane as 007X is here.
Right
nice.
out there from G4. Now I think Spooks realizes, has to repel away. Good gravity field, but it might not be enough. G4 will collect the kill.
And gives everything over that they had just built up to
There's
try
your blue
and
buff,
control.
Swiffer, go get it.
G4's got it now, so that's not good news for the Chiefs, but that's a fantastic counter gank out of 007X, being able to get back into it after being sent back to base.
Well, Swiper now on the top side of the map, going to clear things out again. Warlock doing a nice job at bottom side. Lloyd could be in trouble, does eat the chair. The ulti's out from Braum. It will connect his radiant.
Oh.
Gets the passive. Huge rend, and he dives for the kill.
Lloyd leaves the lane. No, sorry, Moss left the lane, and Lloyd made to punish there. So what a different game. It was a duo lane out of the Bangkok Titans that were taking it to the Chiefs. Spooks was having a career game on the back end of that. This time around, he's 0-2, but Radier and Ejim, they're not done.
No, they're going to dive as well. Ignite's already down. The box is popped from Moss. Eden taking up the tower. Radier does get the kill, and Fate's goal pulls into safety.
Just beautiful coordination from Radier and Ejim right there to understand that they had the cooldowns available. And I don't frankly know what Moss was thinking, why you would look at that and think you weren't about to die.
See Swiffer wards out 007X as well. Tower in the bottom side also goes down.
That's a 12-minute 2v2 laning phase that has resulted in 4 kills for the Chiefs and a turret. That puts them 2,000 gold in the lead after the Bangkok Titans, with a really nice level 1 strategy, were able to get so much off the map.
Well, looking good certainly on the bottom half, but the top side's looking a bit better for Bangkok Titans. Varus does have that tier and the pickaxe now. He's got himself a decent CS lead, as well as that longsword building up to the Manamune. And top side as well, same deal for Maokai. Warlock getting those early items completed.
But the thing for me is, okay, so what is the Fed Varus as Moss gets caught up by Spooks? What is the Fed Varus going to do against the Fed Callista, just in terms of how these compositions work for them? The fact that you have to go through so many members and so much CC and utility from the Chiefs lineup to get to Radier, whereas Varus is really just going to be throwing out those Qs every 4 seconds. So just the weighted power, I think, is very different.
Yeah, I completely agree, and you look at it and you think that normally the team with the Gragas gets to choose when they fight, but as soon as you go for 2 mid-range AD carries, no mages, not very much CC, you have to walk through so much from a control mage. That's why they're so popular, to be honest, to deal with 1 AD carry, let alone giving them 2, that it's going to be very difficult, not to get the initial damage done, but to seal it off for the Bangkok Titans.
That's the thing with Callista, if you don't kill her, she generally stays alive to kill your whole team. You really need to lock her down, and again, they do have the tools for that. Warlock, G4, and the Sivir ulti to get them all in there, but the Chiefs team fighting looks good so far, but it's been a lot of scrappy skirmishes. And again, that gold lead's still there, but the Chiefs back up to about 2,000-3,000 gold ahead now.
Swiffer has to be careful here. He doesn't have his cleanse up just yet in G4. You can tell it's still that assassin mentality, standing in the brush, waiting for Victor to walk by so he could catch him with the ult and then finish off with the arrow.
Yeah, but Dragon gets secured, and it looks like now they want the good triangle vision that we talk about from the Chiefs so much. Bangkok Titans actually doing a really good job to control the part of the map that they're stronger on, which is the top side right now. G4 not giving up any area of control to the Chiefs.
Pretty aggressive there, actually, because he's going to get his blue buff now as well. Mid tower looking to fall on for either side. G4's done a good job trying to deal the damage there. Swiffer has gone back. He'll get himself a needlessly large rod. You can see G4 with that AD champion now, with Moss coming in as well. Spooks might not be enough to hold this off, but for now looks like he will be.
Yeah, G4 didn't siege up that turret. I want to know whether they teleport Swiper into the bottom lane now that it's kind of outside of the laning phase. He also has a Stand United available, or whether they just give that over to Lloyd and see if they can respond in kind in the top lane.
He's going to go down there now. Makes sense with the Dragon down, and Radier and Ejim with the Blade of the Ruined King already completed, by the way.
Yeah, Warlock needs to be careful. He thinks he's strong right now, but Blade of the Ruined King at 14 minutes is a pretty fast clip for a Callista.
I'd say very, because Radia's going to keep chugging things down. They'll put some arrows in these minions, try and get another turret down, and again, snowball that gold lead. Like we've said, the Chiefs have looked much more aggressive than we might have expected coming into this tournament. and of all teams against the Bangkok Titans. But again, still early days here.
The thing that the Bangkok Titans have to be careful here, as we see a lot of members playing towards the top side, is that technically if action breaks out on the top side of the map, that's a 4v5 disadvantage to the Bangkok Titans because the teleport isn't on the bottom side. It's Sivir versus Shin. So I'm glad that they're backing away from this scenario as opposing to forcing and pulling the trigger, because the Chiefs will win that.
Yeah, 100%. Shen Shield, especially on Kalista, allows her to play so confidently enough in the front line. It's just going to mean horrible views at this stage of the game. So they give it up, back away, and it looks like turret will fall down quite soon. Yeah,
good damage there done by Radiant, but they are moving people up to the top lane.
Look at the indecision in Lloyd. You can see him pacing back and forth in the base. Do I go bottom and respond to the wave, or do I go top for this 5v5 that's brewing?
He's got an Infinity Edge. He's relatively strong, honestly, as a Sivir. But can make an impact in the fight. Swiffer, they're going to join it onto the mid lane.
Wow.
Chaos Storm is down. The ulti out
Nice.
from Swiper, and he picks up the kill with the taunt.
All of a sudden, they get the mid lane, I guess, relaxing of pressure, and they're going to take the top lane as well. Double win there for the Chiefs. They're going to be brute forced off everything.
Yeah, really good timing. Get the top tower there as well. Might even try and rotate and shove down mid. But starting to put pressure on the Bangkok Titans, who honestly are just falling behind rotation.
Frankly, it was indecision. You know, we kind of talked about and weighted the different options the Bangkok Titans had to respond, and now Lloyd in trouble.
Great spell shield, but it might not be enough. He's forced to ulti away as Swiffer. Gonna eat a caster. Region goes straight for the throat up in the backlines, and Radiant, he's trying to get the tower down. He knows the Faith Call's up. He's not scared at all, and the Chiefs brute force down the outer ring.
I love what you mentioned there. They do not pick Kalista for Radiant. They pick it for Ejim. This guy loves to be in your face. The more aggressive he can go with the get out of free jail card, he will do it. You saw that was all him. No one else followed up, but he zoned them off the turret. Even more gold in the pockets of the Chiefs.
And the question was, would the Chiefs be able to bounce back with their confidence going into the series, especially from what happened yesterday? The fact that they changed up their strategy from macro to micro, and just with a deafening boom are running over the Bangkok Titans right now.
Yeah, they certainly are. They're just able to get everything they want on the map. You can see 3 turrets to 1, 3,000 gold lead, 7-2 in kills as well. It is just such an impressive performance so far.
I feel like I've seen this before.
Maybe yesterday.
No, you've seen an extra 4 minutes. Let's not go nuts.
Let's not get ahead of ourselves.
Well, Chiefs are starting to pick up in power with the gold lead, that's for sure. We've got Runen's Hurricane on the way now for Rady with the recurve bow and the dagger now completed. A perfect hex score and cooldown boots up for Swiffer as well. And Swiper even getting tankier. Might be going for that early split push item. Chain Vest, Barmy Cinder, and a Spectre's Cowl already done.
And I think everyone agrees that this is where Kalista really hurts you, because she has one of the cheapest 2-item spikes in the game for an AD carry. So if she gets ahead, not only does she get more gold than you, her build is naturally cheaper than yours, and she's just able to run away with it. Not to mention the fact that she gets sustain as part of her first item, let alone third or fourth if you're a Sivir right now, because you probably need the last whisper to get through everything, as there's a gank in the top lane.
Trying to get onto Swiper, but Warlock used the lockdown already. Swiper taunts himself away. He is down on CS quite significantly. Warlock's got about a 35 CS lead, but yeah,
care.
Got some extra gold there from the Stand United, so about evens out.
And kind of touching again back onto 80 carry builds, just on the other side, Sivir. So typically with an Infinity Edge based 80 carry, you're looking for a 3-item power spike. Your Zeal upgrade, which is either going to be Static Shiv or Phantom Dancer, and then your armor penetration, the last whisper, before you're, you know, ready to roll around 30-35 minutes. The thing about Sivir, though, is in the mid game, as actually Spooks misses that pick setup, is that she's able to augment her team with R. Now, the problem for the Bangkok Titans is that you're pretty much augmenting Maokai and Varus, and one of those champions does not need the Sivir ult at all.
One doesn't want the Sivir ult, honestly, in this comp, as Radiant getting a lot done in the bottom lane.
But the spell shield, they might go aggressive. Radiant really committing to the tower, but the rest of the Titans coming around. Lloyd doesn't have his ult. He actually already popped it. But they can't catch up. Nice Cocoon stopping Thresh, and that ulti's down for the Titans.
This is exactly what I mentioned. It's one of those weird comps where Bangkok Titans, they have a really nice team comp against things that don't have disengaged cools, but if you do, you look at the Braum, you look at the Elise, and more importantly, you look at the Victor. I don't understand how they ever chase them down.
And this is what I was talking about. You know, Sivir is there to augment Maokai. That's pretty much it. That's their hard engage. So if he's ever not in that area, there's no fighting from the Bangkok Titans.
And you can see Warlock's being tied up by Swiper.
And the other problem, Maokai's itemization has to be against the majority of the damage, because otherwise he dies, but then the AD carries the fed one, so if he ever gets caught out, Radiant just takes care of him.
Nice little pink ward kill there from Rady as the Chiefs looking to line up for this dragon. Kalista rarely sees an objective when she starts it, and they've already started this dragon.
Level 9 smite, see if you got it. Nope.
Kalista a little too good. There's Egypt! He's going straight in onto Lloyd. He's found the ulti, but it's got blocked off as he puts the Q in as well. Egypt, he's going to keep going. Swiper's already in the backline. Swiffer flashing forward as double attack, trying to cut them off. Radiant gets the first kill. Warlock's going to join in. Swiffer, gravity field down, going to stop the Maokai, and it's so much damage as Egypt pops his way out. Radiant lucky to be alive as Egypt's trying to get out as well, but a good ult to keep them at bay. G4 looks for the snipe, gets blocked by Egypt, and the gravity field means they can't keep running as Moss. He's looking for a hook, he throws it out, he finds Swiffer, he's going to ride in, the Cocoon is down, Moss might die, the shield's up from power transfer, gets the kill with the flame, rides in Warlock for the double, Spooks gets the kill and they get the trade.
And on the back of a team fight, Moss evens things out, a fantastic teleport from Warlock to get into the backline, kind of a delayed Chaos Storm coming out of Swiffer on the Victor, pretty much at the very end of the fight. But the other thing that I wanted to point out is Braum. The fact that Varus was picked into Braum. We saw a beautiful arrow from G4 looking to kill Swiffer and pick up another kill for himself, and just the shield picking it up.
Yeah, and in the end, that was just greed from the Chiefs. Let's take another look for us. Take us through this one for us.
Okay, so this fight starts off and it looks so good. Now, 007, he doesn't reset the fight, but he delays it a bit with that cask. And here comes the amazing ultimate from Warlock. The big thing is that he gets right onto the backline with his ultimate to deny a lot of damage. We talked about how he doesn't have the itemization to deal with Radier, but it stalls out enough time for G4 to start laying down these arrows. Again, if you can stall out a fight long enough, he can get through multiple rotations of that cooldown and do the damage. There was the Chaos Storm that was really delayed, and there was also the arrow that the Braum blocked. And again, Varus into Braum, but on the back of it, we talked about Moss, we talked about his Thresh. He will make plays happen for his team, and this is where Bangkok Titans thrive. It's in the chaos of everything.
Yeah, it certainly is. But in the end, it was 2 for 2, and the Chiefs got the Dragon, so still not a horrible news story for the Oceanic team. A little bit of laziness on the back end means that they did give up 2 kills, however.
Yep, they'll be 2,000 gold down, up now, instead of about 3,000 or 4,000 up. But the items are still coming in. Runan's Hurricane now completed for Radier, and a Lichbane, I think, being worked on for Swiffer, so a very aggressive Victor build.
Yeah, maybe also just going for the Luden's Echo there to see if he can get more upfront damage.
He just needs to be burst damage because they have a fed Kalista on their team who's going to be bringing enough sustained damage.
Certainly is the case. And really, if he deals with either Lloyd or G4, job done for the Victor in this part of the map. Then it's up to the tanks, then it's up to the AD carry. Yep,
Frozen Heart now up for Warlock, so Kalista starting to be dealt with somewhat by the Bangkok Titans itemization. Even Lloyd catching up a bit in CS and getting that Zeal down now as well. Will have a bit more strength. G4 in the mid game with that Maokai especially is the big threat on the Bangkok Titans side, but Luton just got completed, so look at this wave clear. I mean, it's Victor. It's already pretty good. It's only better now.
Yeah, it's another good point about the team, the fact that G4's win condition is kind of siege. If you throw a Gragas in there as well, they do have a very good siege comp on the side of the Bangkok Titans, but Victor going to pretty much negate that solo. That's why we don't really talk about siege that much anymore. Poke is still a good, I guess, win condition against Victor because he doesn't deal with it too well, low mobility, but that will be hard to execute.
Well, right now the Chiefs just getting their wave clear on a mid lane. Swiper pushing up against Warlock there on the bottom side as well, but the ulti gets used. Will just be short out onto Elise. Bangkok Titans starting to look for kills again.
Swiper trying to disengage away from the Maokai. He wants to be available to teleport. They know they have a window where Warlock can't get there, but the Shen can.
And this is the thing about Bangkok Titans composition as well. You kind of already addressed that it is set up to siege just because they have so much poke and disengage and safety alongside the Sivir, but they don't have that 1-3-1 that they like to run.
Lloyd just uses his ulti to the top lane.
I mean, just trying to rotate and protect them. But the fact is that Chiefs can spread them out. They have the Shin, so they have the global pressure as well as the split push potential. And because Kalista is so fed, she demands multiple members to come deal with her. But you don't have a Zed, you don't have an Ahri, you don't have any sort of split pushing potential.
Wow,
Moss might try and make it happen. 007X.
Oh, nice
Gonna
pass.
ride him in. Sedge United out as well. Hurricane Bolt starting to move out here. Warlock in the backline. Gonna jump on as 007X has gotten low. Base of the mountain popped in there as well. They need to keep their carry alive. And Swiffer, he's gonna come later. Spook gets hooked and G4 picks him off. Swiper gonna look for Warlock as the gravity field's down. Maokai now Separator's gonna flush himself to safety. And they just can't get a kill, but G4 actually may be caught out of position. Swiper coming in with a taunt. Oh, there's the stun. Power transfer almost enough as a death ray will barely be eluded by the Lantern.
Swiffer wants in around the back. Probably not going to be able to get there. The Chiefs might pick up the turret, but one team fight there for the Bangkok Titans.
Well, they'll get the tower as a trade to the 1 kill. Maybe they can shrug that off. But a good fight, certainly, for the C team.
And we've talked about how kind of the Bangkok Titans composition is a little bit sideways, a little bit wonky, but that is the power of Sivir. The fact that she can make things happen around the map and augment the team with her mobility to help them make that quick rotation into those team fights.
Yeah, that would have been a horrible news story if all the members of the Chiefs were there, but you're completely right. That's what Sivir does. Means that you can start fights quicker than the other team expects. Credit to Lloyd being able to burn that ultimate liberally. That's the second time we've said that he's used it to just see if he can start something up. This time he was a lot more successful.
And again, Moss making those plays, keeping a lot of teammates alive there and trying to make those picks. Spook's actually on top of a ward there as Moss gonna wander on by. Looks like Dragon's coming up in about 10 seconds or so, so you have to think the teams are waiting for it. And just gonna clear out some vision. Scuttercrow, I believe, went to Bangkok Titans, so they'll have at least some of the unsweepable vision.
Yeah, huge items right now for the Bangkok Titans as well. They have the Last Whisper, they have another BF, or they have a Frozen Heart. Not yet the Righteous Glory that they would really like on their Maokai, just in case he's a little bit later than the Sivir into the team fight. But when you look across the other side of the rift, 3 items on the AD carry means that Radia this time is a complete monster.
And even 2.5 on the mid laner and 2 tank items on the top side. Chiefs, they know they have to fight for Dragon 3, but they are ready to fight.
Both teams are ready to fight. So the first time around, Bangkok Titans kind of let it go. They were looking for a steal at best, but now they know, again, with those major completed items, the Frozen Heart in particular, that they want to take this.
Good poke there, and they will start the Dragon up. It's going to get low. Callista again, very good at securing objectives. Radiant does get the range, and they'll pick it up. Their hook lands on the Swiper. Egypt going to try and disengage with the ulti, and Spooks a little bit out of position there as Egypt's trying to keep it back for his team. Spooks will burn his flash. Great Fate's Call keeps Egypt alive, but G-Force poke is not a joke.
Certainly
that was
is
unintentional.
not. That Varus is massive. Sorry, we were speechless after that one. But that Varus, the damage coming out of the back end of the team fights is really starting to sting the Chiefs. They need Swiper and Egypt up in front and center to try and get rid of some of that damage, because otherwise it's going to keep hurting.
Got Dragon number 3 as well, though, so safely got away. Had to burn some cooldowns, but were able to keep themselves.
I mean, they got the objective, so we're looking at a 5th Dragon win condition so far for the Chiefs, as they have all 3 uncontested. Again, I have to give credit to Moss, standing off to the side of that fight, going around the blue pit. The fact that the Bangkok Titans were so coordinated. I mean, typically when you come from different fronts like that, you have an issue where if your Thresh is just a little bit too far forward, that instantly becomes a pick, which becomes a 4v5 fight. But the fact that they're moving together simultaneously to push the Chiefs out, despite being behind in gold, credit to their team fighting.
Yeah, 100%. And, you know, we said that if they all come from the same direction, they're going to get cut off every single time. Moss makes sure that isn't a factor because he's away from the rest of the team. And because he has a lantern, that pretty much means there's always the threat of the second person being there.
Well, you can see that lead still sitting at about the same gold total here. 3,000 gold up for Chiefs, but haven't been able to really snowball themselves anything other than those Dragons, and looking to that as a probable win condition right now. But again, Bangkok Titans starting to scale. You have to be careful. It only takes one good pick or one good team fight for this game to turn right back around.
Especially at 28 minutes when Baron is such a factor. I mean, for both teams, they have incredible shred. The fact that you have 2 AD carries on the side of the Bangkok Titans, and the fact that you have Elise and Callista on the side of the Chiefs.
Chiefs playing around their AD carry right now. Swiper's in the top lane, does have ultimate and teleport available. Cocoon will just miss there onto G4 as Radia trying to chunk out these waves and get some sieging done. He's getting aggressive. Pokes out there onto Sivir. But the rest of his team's there. He knows he's safe. For Spooks, it's a huge amount of poke.
Yeah, G4, man. He got a lot of damage right now as Swift is caught.
Good move from Egypt. Has to safely shepherd his mid laner out. Great flash though as Egypt's going to be brought into the team. Sivirot will get pop, but the Fates calls the response, and Swiper is just trying to push
want to
things
fight
down.
right now. Swiper is in the top lane shoving, and they are so low.
Cocoon will miss. Spooks will just live, get some movement speed out of the Spider. And Swiper still on the top side. I don't think there's a turret there, though, so it's just going to crash right into the inhibitor turret.
Yeah, but no one's gone back just yet. Now Warlock pulls the trigger on it. That was flirting with danger there by the
Sivirot is
team.
really scary in these long lane sieges.
That said, the disengage overlapping the CC of the Cocoon and the Braum Q, really nice job there from pretty much both teams to make sure that Disaster didn't strike. Chiefs getting the edge there.
Knew they had to get out here. Swiffer hits level 16, building in towards his 3rd item. Swiper only getting tankier, and Spook's actually getting quite tanky now as well. So Both sides really getting towards their items. It's 2 up for the tanks, if not more, and approaching 3 for most of the carries. And once again, still the lead there for the Chiefs, but they'll have to play around these dragons. Bangkok Titans, they know they just need one good Sivir ulti and a nice fight.
The Chiefs put so much work into this bottom lane turret that they really want to just take the last couple of HP off and get a little bit more gold on the map. But this is one of the things that they aren't doing great because their vision isn't there to push up this far into the lane.
Credit to the Bangkok Titans. 2 pink wards just to the left of their own blue buff. They're getting a lot of that vision denied away. Smite will get the Gromp there for Spooks, but it's the little things right now that the Chiefs are trying to hold on to.
Yeah, and Teleport is available for Warlock.
It's also very close to that Righteous Glory.
And goes Spirit Visage. He actually just picked it up, so it needs to be tankier apparently. I mean, I guess you got a Sivir ult, but...
I'm looking at that ward near the Gromp camp. Warlock probably could have home guarded into it. Instead, they're just going to brute force one more time.
He's in the lane, but 007X going to come back in. Doesn't have his flash, and Agent's going to block off some of this damage.
Agent's dead.
Ultimate's out, Fate's call's good. Never dead when Callista's around. As Swiffer, he's on split push duty now.
Yeah, running a 1-3-1. They call 007.
007X, good catch, stuns out Radiant. Gonna leap in for the kill, and he does get it.
And this is the thing that we were talking about before.
G4 going in on the Radiant. Damage
Shen.
is good. There's Shen and Face of the Mountain. But Ejim has to peel his way back in. Great Kakuna's Moss flashes in there onto Ejim. The Flay's out there as well.
He got
Damage
it.
is massive from G4. He's going to get the first kill. Swiper trying to get out. He taunts away. Might be enough for safety. Lloyd does not have his ulti. The repel there from Spooks. But he's going to come straight back down into the enemy team. He'll get picked off. Swiper's still here. He's going in. He gets a 3-man taunt. He's waiting for Swiffer. Trying to turn it around. The gravity field's good. Warlock's going to come down as well. Swiffer's going to get caught up by the ulti. G4 flashes as Lloyd gets the kill. And the Bangkok Titans complete the ace.
A clean ace for the Bangkok Titans on the back end of some horrible miscommunication. But they're able to clean up the fight. And this is what we said. Do not skirmish this team. Why would you run the split push comp if you can't successfully disengage? And in the end, this is going to mean the Baron.
They have so many playmakers on that team. Again, Moss coming up huge on the back half of that fight with that flash hook.
And there's Baron now started up for Bangkok Titans. They're going to get it very low very quickly. Ejim is here, but he's not enough to stop it. They can't even get a look in for a steal. And all of a sudden, the game straight back to even with Bangkok Titans having the Baron and the momentum.
A beautiful shift in power for the Bangkok Titans. That was fantastic play as we see the replay. Jake?
Yeah, so let's have a look at this. They get the pick, and this is where they should have stopped because they had 2 members in the split push lane. Instead, they get caught over the wall from G4. The ultimate from Shen was super late. It should have been like before the flash and anything. So they get chased out, and a beautiful snipe here as soon as Radiant looks to hop back in, gets taken out on the back end of the fight, and Swiffer's still not here. The mid laner, it's a 4v5 the entire way through. Chiefs get Dragon number 4 now. That's a steal.
That is a good trade and takeaway there from Bangkok Titans. They still have the Baron, but Dragon 4, and looming now is that 5th Dragon for the Chiefs. We're going to talk about it a bit. Their late game looks good. Their early games look good. Mid game, maybe not so hot for the Chiefs. They'll need to look for that 5th Dragon.
I mean, frankly, at this point, they need the 5th Dragon to just beat the Titans in a 5v5 scenario. These guys are ruthless.
Yeah, they certainly are. They'll just chase you for days. The other thing that I want to point out is Swiffer's build makes so much more sense when you consider the team that he's playing against. You know that they are going to win team fights effectively at some point of the game. So having the wave clear of a max AP victory is just going to help you out so much in trying to stall out when you do make that one hiccup.
Damage not bad either. Swiffer would have been needed in the last few fights if they wanted to commit to them, but Chiefs going to have to be a bit more careful with their carries positioning as Bangkok Titans going to just charge down mid lane with that Baron buff. But this tower will not last long.
You have to give this up. If they died there, they could give up even more. So
That's
no surprise to see, exactly, no surprise to see the Chiefs just back off that tower.
Well, poke out there from Swiffer. Warlock pretty tanky though with those 3 tank items. I mean, Chiefs certainly can do damage, but 5v5 it's very tricky with Lloyd and G4 having all the damage and the rest of the team just being there for the CC. You have to line it up well.
Well, it depends how it works out because this is the weakness of Bangkok Titans team fight. Sure, they siege and poke under turret, but because of the range of Varus and Sivir, if they ever get caught by stray CC, that Victor's going to fly in there and completely destroy them. So whilst, yes, they look very good right now, they need to be careful because it's on a knife's edge.
Still got the Baron as well.
Like
Swiffer!
that.
Oh my god! Walks up slowly to Lloyd and kills him.
I wish you guys could see Spawn's face right now.
Why would you hit the turret? Like, I do not understand what Lloyd was just thinking. He just kamikazed his body
Yo, did
into
he just
Swiffer.
walk up slowly in Chaos Storm?
But this is what we were talking about. The fact that Varus and Sivir are both mid-range 80 carries versus long-range 80 carries like Caitlyn, Jinx, Tristana, Kog'Maw, things like that. Victor is a mid-range control mage with massive upfront damage because of his build. So anytime Sivir and Varus are using their auto attacks as opposed to Varus's arrow, they're gonna get deleted.
Well, that's what happened, and the Chiefs get a reprieve from the Baron buff. They can't get too aggressive in these side lanes, but they'll buy some much-needed time, and Lloyd's going to rethink some of his choices. That Victor damage was disgusting.
That was hilarious.
That was hilarious.
And the best part of this, right, is the fact that Swiffer recognizes that his job is to not kill the front line. Raid is fed enough to be able to do that. So he's just going to pile AP on top of AP on top of AP. There's no way they can get enough magic damage to be able to slow the guy down right now on Victor. And time again, if the Chiefs execute properly, that's what's going to happen. Teleport in the mid lane.
Warlock looking to go in. Ejim gets pulled out by Fate's Call. Warlock a little too far on that teleport. Sivir ulti pops. Swiper's here as well. 007X does have the flash.
Warlock's
He's trying to catch on to Raid here. Warlock might have caught Ejim, but he knows so he wants good disengage also in. And now they're going to run around the side. Sage United onto Spooks. They'll dive into the backline. Swiffer trying to keep them out, but it's so much chaos as Warlock gets extremely low. Now Lloyd looking to be in trouble as Swiffer cleanses off the hook. G4, he'll pick up Ejim there as Moss gets cocooned up. The damage is good from Victor, and the weirdest trade is both supports die.
Moss zoned off like 3 people there.
What a beast.
This guy's a god.
He's really
Moss
good at
is
throwing.
really good.
But that fight was wonky. I mean, still 4v4. Spook's going to
Oh,
walk
he's
forward.
got G4.
Gets cocoon, the cleanses pop. Repels down, he goes to his Raptors. And this game is real tense right now. Spook smites away the big one.
Yeah, well, it's 2.5 minutes till Dragon number 5, so any positioning they can get around that side of the map is definitely worthwhile, and you can see both teams don't want to give it up.
This is the story of the bloodthirsty supports. I feel like Ejim and Moss right now are like the titans of these teams.
Yeah, Blood Brothers just running in there.
They don't care. They're on the front line. They'll slap you.
If only we had some sort of like cross-promotion tournament. Can you imagine them playing a lane together?
G4 just whiffed his ult, by the way.
Well, that's good news for the Chiefs. They got a cooldown to work around now. Should be back up by the time Dragon is there. Minute 35 there on that one. But the damage is still piling on, and again, both teams gonna have to flex some of that late game team fighting prowess.
Let's talk about the win conditions of this next Dragon. So we've said this over and over again. Anytime Kalista is set up on an objective, 100% she's going to get that. It's very hard to outsmite the Kalista Rend when she's been there putting the arrows into the objective. So it's so important for the Titans right now to get on top, to get into this area, to clear out the vision, which is why the Chiefs are doing such a fantastic job setting up for a pick. They know the Titans have to face check into this.
G4 doesn't have an ulti, so Swiffer's going to see him and...
Yeah, G4, the Titans actually need to go now or not at all, because if there's ever a chance where that you know all 5 members are there, it's way too dangerous to face check. So they had a window where they knew Swiffer wasn't there when they knew Swiper was in the mid lane. Now they don't know that, and that's a lot of misinformation.
Blue buff does go over to the right target. I believe G4 does pick it up.
How
He's
do you
got his
face check
ulti
this
back
team?
as well.
If they get this, if they get the 5th Dragon, this is effectively the Chiefs' vision control winning them the game.
Well, it's looked good around this side of the map especially. You can see Moss trying to clear it out. The Cocoon will miss. Clearing away precious vision there for the Chiefs, but Dragon's up in 20 seconds.
Once again, Swiper in the mid lane. Maybe they have a window where they can go in. They burn the ult.
Blood's going straight in. He wants it. Good ult though from Ejim's going to keep them out. Swiffer in the backside going to try and kill the support, but he's already used the ultimate. They'll get knocked back, but Swiper going through. Swiffer's going to get the kill onto Thresh. He's forced to flash out as G4 gets the kill. Raid is already dead, but they actually get G4 on the backside. They need Lloyd. Spooks. He's going to flash for it. Swiper going to dive in as well. The repel is used. Spooks. He needs it, but he can't get it as Swiper, the only one left alive, but it's 1v3. Gets the taunt. Finds the flash. Huge play. Takes out Lloyd, but still 1v2 against these tanks. I don't know if he can get out, but he might have just saved the game. They'll keep chasing. They'll get the body slam. This could last forever, and they have to back away.
What the hell? The top laner from the Chiefs just went massive because that might delay the Dragon. It looks like they still want it. But the Bangkok Titans, man, they are so good at team fighting.
Swiper is not done. He actually doesn't have full health yet. He's just going to fight them. He gets another taunt. He's going up to 007X. He has to kill the smite. But I don't know if he can in time, to be honest with you. He gets another taunt. The damage from the Dragon starting to add up. They're buying some time. The smite should be there. 007X will get it. Swiper's buying as much time as he can, but it wasn't enough.
Swiper's performance is trying so hard to compensate for Swiffer's massive missed ult in that team fight. He hit the Chaos Storm on only Moss, completely ignoring all of the carries on the Titans.
Yeah, but what they have now is a chance at that Baron buff. Sure, they gave up a Dragon, but no one responding from Bangkok.
And it's only the first Dragon as well for the Bangkok Titans. Don't forget, Kallista's objective control also applies to Baron, and Baron gets melted by the Chiefs.
That's what the teleport did. You know, he stalled out so much. He sent back 2 members on 0 mana. As a tank, mana's just as important as your health pool, because what are you going to do? Run at people and slap them with your tree limbs? Probably not going to work out in your favor. So instead, Chiefs able to trade the first Dragon of the game over for that Baron buff and a couple thousand gold.
This game just keeps getting closer. The gold lead pretty much irrelevant right now as far as the teams go. The Chiefs will have the Baron, but that Dragon will be delayed again.
Well, the nice thing about the Baron is that it gives you, I mean, if the Chiefs are able to translate it into any sort of objective or siege, but it gives you that 4-minute timer, which gets you that much closer to a second attempt at that 5th Dragon.
Yeah, exactly right. And I feel like right now that we keep mentioning gold, and it's going to be something that we learn over the weekend, that as long as the Bangkok Titans are on the Summoner's Rift as a team, it just doesn't matter. They're like a mini Xiaogu, dude. They are never going to care how far they are down. As long as you fight them head on, they think they have a shot.
And the longer the fight, like it sounds weird to say, but the longer the fight goes on, the higher the chance that the Titans are going to win. Yeah,
because they just don't make as many mistakes in these team fights. Finally, the Chiefs get their turret. They have the Shen, so arguably have an advantage right now with the split push. But Egypt needs to be careful. He's real low.
Yeah, mid lane as well, starting to push up. As Egypt's got the forward wards, he's looking for a pick. Swiper with a banner of command somewhere.
Maybe it's an Egypt.
Yeah, I think so, but that's yeah, there it is. Powering up that Baron minion. Poor Maokai's going to have a real bad time trying to kill that guy.
Yeah, he's going to have a shit.
I mean, at the same time, though, very smart to send it up into the top lane against the Maokai as opposed to versus the 280 carries. Typically, you wouldn't see a Banner of Command come out against a Varus and a Sivir comp.
But it's because the Shen can just nurse it up there. Like, that is a horrible thing for a Maokai to have to deal with.
Still there, firing away. He's got a buddy now as well, but he doesn't have a cool shield. Warlock's like, I think I can kill this one. Can't kill the other one.
Well, Warlock should actually be punching the other one.
Yeah.
And using his abilities on that one. Instead, he's gone the wrong way around.
Got the first one at least. Now it's to get the big Papa minion. And now Moss is here to help out. It's like, don't worry, buddy. I got you on the AD front. But the Chiefs, they'll pull the trigger. They're going to try and break the base.
Books.
Too much damage. He's pretty tanky, but he tanked a lot of free damage. Egypt's low as well. Lloyd can't get out. The gravity field's down. Spook's going to come back down. He will die. And now 007X. Great base call. Swiffer gets mini-stunned into the wall, but I don't know if it's enough to kill him. He's going to try and do a G4. It's done to him all game long, but he cleanses his way out. Swiffer going to put down a gravity field and walk to safety. Moss! Flash hook, but he cleanses it off.
Yeah, instant cleanse there. Saves a mid laner's life. Otherwise, they would have been in so much trouble. And that's twice we've seen teams make crucial mistakes with a Baron buff. Really, all they had to do was wait because Moss had gone top lane. They had probably another wave to nurse into the turret. Instead, pull the trigger and one of them dies.
And 43 minutes in, this game still very tense. Dragon back up in a couple more minutes. Baron will not be long after that, I don't think, with the way the timers have synced up. And it's all late game right now. Everyone is pretty much built up. Just a matter of your execution. As far as the team fighting goes, we trust the Chiefs in their region, but Bangkok Titans have looked fierce.
Yeah, they certainly haven't. Now maybe it is going to be more macro. The Chiefs have stuck to it the whole time. They've got a Banner of Command. They've got the Shen. They'll put it on the bottom or top side of the map, try and nurse it into one of those very low turrets because we saw how much work they got done with them. And Maokai just cannot clear them.
That's the thing that's really important to underline here. The onus is on the Titans to stop the Dragon, not the Chiefs to do it. So they can use it to out-macro the Titans around the map. Use their split push advantage.
Yeah, potentially even just set up and get the minion waves in the right spot and try and race across the map. See whether you can drag this awesome team fighting squad into a choke point and make a play off the back of it. Because you feel if they just set up around the Dragon, probably going to go the same way as last time, which is Bangkok Titans getting the ace.
Well, the big thing is the fact that, again, Swiffer completely whiffed his ult, only hit Moss on the enemy team. So if they get them into a choke point, you have to make sure that that Chaos Storm, the laser are going across multiple members. Think about that first team fight where the Chiefs just ran over the Titans.
Well, 140 up now for that Dragon. Spook's going to look for a pick. He finds a cocoon on the 007X. Damage is down, but it's a very tanky Gragas Ejim. Face calls aggressively on there. A Swiper's going to lock him down. Damage is good. They do have enough, and they'll take him out.
And that is a minute without the jungler. Dragon up in a minute 20. Going to be very hard for him to get down there. Instead, the Chiefs look like they want the siege. Don't know about this call. They could be using this time to clean out the objective for the 5th Dragon.
Gonna try something here though. Minion wave's coming, but not quite in time. They might have to do some face tanking. They'll walk forward. The turret's quite low. Gravity Field's down onto Warlock. The turret. They need to get it. They do take it out. Now Warlock, caught out of position, gets himself stunned. Needs to take the lantern away, but it's actually not going to be there as Ejim does fall there to G4. Trades across the rift here, but the Chiefs do break the base.
And that's not the Chiefs' strengths. Bruce forcing in on a base at the moment. As we said, they had such a large window to be able to set up around that objective. Sure, they got the turret, but they also lost their support, their playmaker. And now the Bangkok Titans are going to be able to set up for Dragon number 2.
See Ejim leaning back in his chair there. Dead for 30 more seconds, trying to make sure that they can close out this game effectively. It's been a hard-fought battle on both sides, but the Chiefs have had specifically the Dragon control all game long. 20 seconds left. Can they get Dragon number 5?
The Titans need to move up into the pit. So Moss is finally walking into River to start setting up and denying the vision, but they had a window of opportunity of 30 seconds where they could have already been on top of that pit.
Ooh, looking for a pick instead, and Moss hooks onto Spooks. Lloyd's going to get some damage down, but key ultimates already used for the Bangkok Titans. Yeah. Sivir and Varus ult down.
Key health pool for the Chiefs member though. Wow, their jungler's got no health left and Dragon's already back up. They're going to be able to take another one.
The Bangkok Titans will start this. Going to look to get themselves onto the Dragon. Chiefs in back, give it up. It's already dead. And that's Dragon number 2 now for the Bangkok Titans.
So Dragon win condition probably gone. You know, if this game goes for another 6 minutes, would be extremely surprised, especially with the Baron fight available in a minute's time. So maybe the Chiefs just need to give up on it, shift their ward control into the top side of the map, run the split push with the warded up, the Banner of Commanded up minion on that side of the map and see whether they can force an error. Because right now, Bangkok Titans, they're outperforming them late game.
No, I completely agree right now. The kind of the momentum for the Chiefs has died with their initial try to brute force onto the top side. And if they had gotten the inhibitor, that would have been huge because the inhibitor would have been across map from the Dragon and they could have played with those 2 pressure points. But the fact that the Titans were able to stall them off really got their foot back into this game.
Swiffer now going back. It was bottom side pushing out waves. Bangkok Titans have done a great job managing side waves and keeping themselves in this game. And again, it's just down to those crucial pixel team fights. The Chiefs have got some space in the top half of the map. We've got decent wards around the Baron area, but even that's starting to get cleaned out now. And Baron's back up in 15 seconds.
Max item builds coming out of the 80 carries the mid laners. Even the top lane is getting towards that finish state of the game.
They've got better position on the mid lane.
Yep. One pick here is going to win them the game.
Oh, great. Unbreakable there from Ejim. Very tense here in this particular moment. The Chiefs know they have to play around their objectives. They're going to move in and swoop on top of the Baron, take that Scuttle Crab and get the vision.
Blue side Victor for the Baron fights is incredibly important. Look at the choke points that red team has available to them into this pit. You're either going over the top to the try or you're going down the ramp.
They've started, they're going to try and burn it down, but they have to back off. Gravity Field's going to keep them out. Lloyd did use his ultimate, so the Chiefs are going to get a cooldown out of it.
Once again, look at the bottom wave. This is something that the Chiefs analysts spend a lot of time drilling into their team. That is a monster wave down bottom. Warlock is going to have to go back because the Chiefs, they're not going to move until someone looks after it.
Radiant top side.
Oh, that's dangerous.
Clearing out the wave. Swiffer's going to eat some poke from G4.
Why is Moss going back? That needs to be
He's
Warlock.
War charges. He must have run out of sidestone because he's going back. Warlock's going back as well.
He was in the brush, so they know it was safe. Are they going to go towards bottom side or do? This is so tense.
This is very tense. Moss is running back as well with his home guards.
That's the important fact that you pointed out, the fact that Moss did it in Fog of War, so they think he's still there.
They certainly do, but Gravity Field's down. Chiefs get about the Baron. Raider's got good sustain. 007X! He gets into the pin, but Raider gets the Baron. Gragas will die there. They're trying to get the kills. The Swiffer on the backside. 1v2 and a couple of carries. Pumps the Gravity Field, finds Moss there as the Chiefs. They've already got 2 kills. Lloyd will die. Shane gets the double. Ejim going to keep chasing down Swiffer. He is dead, but Moss will die as well. The Chiefs get the Baron and win the team fight.
And they're going to win the game. They're just going to stop the back. Raiders already on top of the inhibitor in the top lane. They've got a huge creep wave.
That Banshee's Veil almost completed the recall from Mars.
And Bangkok Titans fought for 50 minutes, but it's not going to be enough.
And after an unfortunate slugfest yesterday that was cancelled early, the Chiefs change up their strategy from a macro-oriented early game to a brute force style 2v2 in the bottom lane, and they come out on top both times.
Radius Kalista looks good. You can see the backs to get it counts as the Chiefs will win the first game of IWCQ, but the Bangkok Titans made them fight every single minute.
And this is something that people were saying yesterday. The Chiefs were clearly ahead. We saw it again. Bangkok Titans are a team in the mid-lane game. They're just going to keep coming at you. And they did all game long. Chiefs got their early lead. They almost patented it in this region. But being able to weather that storm and come at a team super hard, all the credit in the world to the Bangkok Titans.
Yeah, and just to kind of get on the tail end of that, the Titans making that call, that split-second decision to press the go button to pull the trigger on the Baron. Yes, it was a little bit too late because Kalista had already been on there, but you have to make that call. The fact that there wasn't any indecision, that they just let the Baron go and lost the inhib, it's again, that communication, that pulling the trigger, that all-in mentality you have to watch out for.
And they just test you time and time again. League of Legends is a game of asking the question and waiting for the team to make the mistake. And credit to the Chiefs, they made two horrible mistakes, one in the bottom lane, one around the dragon fight, but when it was really asked towards the later stages of that game, they were able to brute force, they were able to play un-Chiefs like League of Legends to force the Bangkok Titans into a bad situation.
It was a good late game setup and a well-fought game for both sides. Don't forget, apart from the game that we started yesterday, each team does have to play twice. And if that's how the first game between these two teams is going,
that could have very easily swung the other way.
Oh, yeah. They're going to learn a lot after just one game. So the fact they have to play again, looking like fierce competitors. We haven't even seen the other teams play yet, but already the tournament's delivering.
And I love everyone's like, they gave away too much. Both teams like just throw curveball after curveball. No assassin. This time a poke champion out of G4 in the mid lane. Being able to take it through, I would love to see his damage graph. He was doing work. So, yeah, both teams being able to rise to the occasion. This is going to be a fun tournament.
Certainly is. And for a little bit more on that last game, at least, let's pop out back to the War Room.
Thank you very much, Pastry Time, and a huge congratulations to the Chiefs. Look, yesterday it was the same story, about 3,000 gold lead 14 minutes in, and they managed to close it out, but man, did it get intense.
Oh, certainly was. It felt really back and forth, almost like watching a game of ping pong. You didn't really know who was actually going to win until the final nail was in the coffin, but the Chiefs replicated a very similar game to what they had yesterday in terms of, as you mentioned, the gold lead, some control on the map, but they actually managed to close this game out, so they did exceptionally well for their second first game of this tournament.
Yeah, exactly. And we are going to bring up the first replay here, Rusty, and this is the one that's going to go through exactly how they started off this advantage. Of course, only 200 gold before this fight breaks out, but you've really got to watch out for fighting a victor in a choke point.
You certainly do. And the Chiefs actually, they're the ones engaging this fight. So you can see just prior to this, they were looking for the blue buff. Raider's the one that secures that blue buff for himself. And now they're working their way back out of the area. But at the same time, Bangkok Titans had put that teleport down, and now they're ready to go. So we'll roll this one out, and just as the fight breaks out, Moss, as per usual, hits fantastic hooks. G4 makes his way in early, but Swiffer, here he comes, and destroys everybody in that choke point. You want nothing to do with choke points like that when there is a victor on the enemy team, but they walk straight into his hands. They play to the strengths of the Chiefs, and this is a quintessential Chiefs team fight. They just go in, and they time it well.
Yeah, and we need to talk as well about what changed for the Chiefs from yesterday. The fact that, you know, that comp managed to get them to that point, but what is different now? And you can't help but look at that bottom lane. Of course, Radier really going off on that Kalista.
Certainly. The Kalista was massive. Both champions of that bottom lane changed, but this is the biggest one. Something that didn't go noticed in the first draft.
Yeah.
They went for the Tristana, but in this game, he picks up the Kalista in the second rotation, and then he just goes ballistic. They win laning phase, and from that laning phase, the macro strategy that wasn't necessarily in place was well and truly in place afterwards.
Yeah, it was almost like a little bit of a switch up there. And we do have that fantastic tower dive that Radier and Ejim were able to pull off here. And take us through, because you explained it to me as sort of the perfect example of how to play this dive.
This is Radier and Ejim as a duo lane, achieving what is perfection in synergy, essentially. So just roll this one out and just notice how Ejim's the one who initiates the tank with the ignite, knowing that
strategic miss
it
at the
didn't
pierce there as
even
well.
matter if the Q connected. That gives enough time for Radier to then freely auto attack, and just before the turret kills Ejim, Kalista pulls him back to safety and says, "You're coming with me."
Yeah, it was fantastically well played, and they were able to get this off over and over again. And we heard this mentioned as well during the cast. One fantastic example is the fact that you don't necessarily pick Kalista for Radiant. You often pick Kalista for Ejim, because he just likes to be able to get in amongst it. That being said, when he does, they really need their mid laner to be there. And look, we need to highlight both the positives and the negatives here. And the fact that the Chiefs were fighting quite a few times without that Victor really left a little bit to be desired. They really needed Swiffer in a lot of these team fights.
They certainly didn't. A lot of credit to G4 where it's due, because he played that Varus exceptionally well. He put down so much poke and actually disabled the option of having Swiffer in these fights. And they needed him, but they just couldn't have him.
No, they couldn't. But we do have the next dragon fight that I want to bring up. And this is going to illustrate exactly what happens when you don't necessarily have that Chaos Storm put down as effectively as you like, and how you can just get hunted down by this Varus.
Or in this case, you can't put it down at all. He doesn't actually get a chance to put this one down. Moss consistently trying to engage for his team. Chiefs, they secured the dragon just before this fight happens. That's what they were looking for. That was one of their big win conditions. So we'll roll this one out, and Moss tries to hit something. The spell shield was nice from Lloyd. Notice that Shen ults the Braum, so there's no way to actually save the backline members as Swiffer flashes in. He might want that Shen ultimate about now, because Warlock goes in on him and makes it hurt. This is a Sivir composition from Bangkok Titans, where they can press R and just brute force their way in. Raider has no answer. Ejim has nothing left. And the ultimate that finally comes down from Swiffer is a zoning tool. Now, to make a small mistake here, the gravity field is no longer available, and they recall in a bush. And this is a blind hook from Moss. It's fantastically played. He manages to pick up a kill, and it almost looks like Swiffer's going to get away. He does go down from the Flay and the Ignite, and then the cleanup crew arrives of Bangkok Titans. And this is a big mistake from the Chiefs.
Yeah.
Not engaging properly. The Shen was on the wrong person, and the Braum ultimate was only going to hit 2 members, and it didn't hit one of them, and the other got spell shielded.
Yeah, it just wasn't quite enough there. And the fact that Swiffer blew his flash a little bit earlier on there, you could see when everyone was grouped up, he didn't have that summoner spell, couldn't get back in there with the massive burst damage and time it with the Braum. So maybe a little bit of a communication mishap, but congratulations regardless to the Chiefs. It was a fantastic match.
Yeah, we're definitely just highlighting the fact that they've shown some mistakes. They do have some errors that they'll need to fix from this game, but they've definitely gone from strength to strength in between that particular replay, and they do look really strong.
Yeah, and that does bring us to our next replay as well, Rusty. As we can see right here, the Chiefs, it just didn't quite go as well. And this reiterates the fact that they need Swiffer, and we'll see whether he's going to be able to make that adjustment moving forward.
Certainly. The miniature health bar Spooks is making his way in very aggressively. This is the part where they actually make quite a nice pick. I know mini health bar Spooks. We'll just roll this one out. Hopefully it goes back to normal.
There we are.
They do actually make a pick onto the Gragas, and he's in a horrendous position. This is where they should back. Raider actually gets way too aggressive. G4 is able to put down everything and just make him pay for it, almost with his life, but Ejim with that Unbreakable gets him this far. But Moss, again, with the flash connecting another hook, makes it miserable. G4 is just sitting in the background throwing out arrows consistently. He takes down Raider, and this is another decision-making error, because not only is someone else about to get caught here, Spooks, and go down, Victor's also running the long way on the minimap. He hasn't been able to get here in time to actually help his team. By the time he gets here, Warlock just goes on him instead, and he ends up going down. So the decision-making has shown some hiccups here from the Chiefs.
Yeah, and sort of everything there was the Chiefs trying to stall, trying to make time for this Victor to come in, because he was massive, so much AP, gigantic numbers in that area, but just unable to really utilize it, which just didn't quite work out. But that being said, the Chiefs still managed to pick up the victory here. We'll see whether Swiffer's going to sort of rethink how he manages to move around the map, though, because that was a big deal.
It was a big deal, of course. It was more so communication than a personal decision, you would have to say, is that they're looking to kite back, and he goes towards the tri-bush, and then has to change his mind, come all the way back around. So all things considered, they still played it well. They were playing towards him, but he just couldn't get there in the end, and that is something that needs to be looked at.
Yeah, most certainly is. But we are going to bring up that last fight here as well. The Chiefs had managed to pick up the Baron. Didn't quite get to that 5th dragon. Of course, we're sitting on 4 for quite some time, but we'll just play this one out and see exactly how this one goes.
Yeah, exactly. So they actually get a free attempt into the Baron. This is desperation from Bangkok Titans. 007 with a flash body slam just to get into the pit and look at a steal. But Kalista, really hard to steal away from. G4 goes all in an attempt to kill Kalista as well. He just flashes over the other side of the pit. And this is now 2 members that have expended their own lives at the attempt of killing a Kalista that is never, ever going to die. Has Blade of the Ruin King, Mercurials, and a Bloodthirster to boot. So that sustain is just infinite right there. And got most of the health back from Baron from all of the poke, to say the least. And they just get a little bit overzealous in their attempt to actually take the Kalista down, and done.
Yeah, just completely ridiculous. So huge congratulations there for the Chiefs, picking up the first victory here at the IWCQ. So massive props to the Oceanic region, and we'll see whether the Bangkok Titans Southeast Asian region can come back through. Of course, they've still got a whole lot of games yet to be played here, Rusty. And of course, this is only the first one. Let's start talking about our next matchup. Of course, Dark Passage are going to be taking on Detonation Focus Me. Of course, Turkey taking on Japan. This is going to be an interesting one because we've looked at Dark Passage and these guys are terrifying.
Dark Passage honestly look like the team to beat. And you say that dependent on your region, but from a completely neutral standpoint, Dark Passage, they look like the strongest team without a doubt coming into this. Japan, they're a wildcard region, not just because they're a wildcard region. We don't know what they're capable of. They played 10 games throughout the split. They could bring out anything.
Yeah, they do some interesting things, but I just, for this particular game, I want to focus on Dark Passage, and we'll take you through Detonation Focus Me at a later point when they're playing next time around. But as you can see, Besiktas and Dark Passage, Besiktas were the team that were in the IWCI, but 3-1 was Dark Passage's victory over the top, and once again, back to that top spot. We've heard the name Dark Passage over and over again, and once again, the top dogs here, and they're looking better and better.
It's the Chiefs' legacy of Turkey,
It certainly
essentially.
is.
It's 1 and 2. They were back and forth every single time, but in this particular one, 3-0 in the regular split, I believe it was, against these guys in the finals. In the qualifiers themselves, 3-1. They looked exceptionally strong, and they have not looked like slowing down anytime soon. And there are so many key members to this side. There's no one star. There are many, but there is also a standout.
Yeah, well, this is the thing. It's not necessarily star plays here, but it's the fact that their mid laner, Naru, is so smart. He's been playing on the Dark Passage lineup since he was 14 years old. That's 4 years. He's now only 18, but this little guy is an absolute gun, really able to get everything mixed up. He plays meta champions, but he puts a lot of time and effort into putting his own stamp on how to play these picks. And they've also got Rydell, of course, formerly in the EU LCS playing for Giants. And look, it's a star-studded roster, and you have to look at Naru for all of the playmaking.
You certainly do. Naru is massive. He's the shot caller for the team as well from the mid lane, so he definitely has a big say in what is happening around the map. He's the one making the plays, but he's also inclined more so towards the poke style of champions, but he plays them in a very aggressive manner so that he can make the plays and actually get things done, because the shot caller wants to play a part in engaging, or it feels a little bit off.
Yeah, he's almost like, it's like an orchestra. His team's an orchestra, and he's there to try and create everything. And he does so using Sand Soldiers a lot, Rusty. Of course, his Azir is banned a whole lot of the time. Sort of third most high ban during the regular split plus the playoffs combined. So you do not want to get him on that pigeon, man. We can talk about Elwind as well, formerly a mid laner himself. This guy moves up into the top lane, and then Fizz becomes a top laner.
Yeah, speaking of bans.
Now also permanently banned against this team. We saw it banned against Swiper as well. A very similar situation. But Elwind, man, that guy's ridiculous.
He is a complete god. Again, we said star-studded roster. Well, that is what all of them are individually, because they all command small bans. But just quickly, Zillion ban against Detonation Focus Me.
Yeah, well, that's true. We are going to go into Detonation Focus Me to a greater extent moving forward. But yeah, that Zillion ban, we'll see whether that one gets through. Zeitnot as well, just as a quick follow-up. 77% kill participation on an AD carry. This guy plays a whole lot of champions. Of course, was known for Corki and Jinx basically only, but has now moved on. His Vayne is unstoppable. Ridiculous amounts of damage on that champion. But we are going to throw it over to the casters to get us into Detonation Focus Me versus Dark Passage.
Thank you once again, Atlas and Rusty. And this time, we've changed it up